and welcome to the Scrumcast. I'm Nina, and joining me in the studio today we've got Nathan and Eddie. Six Nations 2024 is kicking off tonight, and what a better fixture than the opening France versus Ireland in Marseille, of course. Now, both teams suffered heartbreak after a basically surprising exit at the quarterfinals in the World Cup. So all to play for. They're missing obviously superstars Antoine Dupont and Johnny Sexton. Will that take a toll? What can we expect from tonight?
Yeah, I think for France, Dupont is going to be a huge miss. He's widely regarded as one of, if not the best player in the world, and obviously in such a crucial position for France at scrum half, like it's going to be a really big miss. But fortunately for France, they have a guy called Maxime Lucu who can come in and replace Dupont, and obviously he's the kind of player who would probably walk into most teams if it weren't for having someone like Dupont in the squad ahead of him. So he's going to be wanting to almost like prove that he can be the man to step up for Dupont. And then France themselves have got just stacks of talent around the squad. Like they've got who else? Mathieu Jalibert at fly half. They've got Damien Penaud on the wing. He's absolutely class. He was the top try scorer last season in the Six Nations, so he's going to be hopefully in fantastic flying form as well. So I think France will be a very tough team to beat once again.
Nathan, Ireland are reigning champions. What do you think they can do against France tonight?
Yeah, well, obviously, they did lose to New Zealand in the quarterfinal, but they probably still would say they're the best team in the world despite that knockout. And they have gone mostly for consistency with their squad, bar Johnny Sexton and Keith Elves. But it does, like you said, give an opportunity for other players to step up, like Jack Crowley, who is only on his 10th cap. But it should be a good opportunity for him and Peter Mahoney. He's been a captain at club level, so it's not a massive gap, I suppose.
Brilliant. And Eddie, France are playing on home soil. Obviously that didn't work out how they wanted in the World Cup last time round. Do you think the fans are going to get behind the team tonight? Do you think they can almost be that extra player on the pitch supporting them tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I think also it's a game that's taking place not in Paris as you would expect because of the Olympic preparations. So they're actually playing in Marseille, and for any football fans out there, they will know just how electric the Stade Vélodrome can be. And I think, those fans will definitely get behind the team and almost like try and rally around them potentially after, obviously, the disappointment of the World Cup. I just see them bouncing back and doing it in front of the home crowd. I think it is going to be really tough for Ireland to go there. It can be so, not necessarily hostile, but the French crowds are slightly different to sort of the English and Celtic crowds. They're very, very passionate. So, it'll be a big home fixture for France.
Huge game then. We don't expect a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be quite marginal. But Nathan, how do you see it ending? What is your prediction?
Well, I'm going to go for an Aluminium. Obviously, they were Grand Slam last year. But I think whoever does win this probably puts himself in the best position to win the whole thing. They are the two best teams in the competition. And if you can beat France away from home, then you can beat anyone in the competition and potentially do a back-to-back Grand Slam, which it's no easy feat.
Well, that's for you then. It's Ireland versus France tonight, 8 p.m. kickoff that is. It promises entertainment. But let's stay tuned because the next one's going to be Italy versus England, which is on Saturday tomorrow. Thank you so much, Eddie and Nathan.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And tomorrow at 2:15, Italy will host England in the second fixture of the Six Nations in the opening weekend of the tournament. So Italy, not the best time in the tournament. It's 8 successive last place finishes for them in the tournament. England coming off the back of a 3rd place in the World Cup, which some will say they overperformed in, so guess you could say that was a plus there. But joining me to talk about the fixture, we've got Tom and David. Let's start with you, Tom. Italy, not so impressive in recent years, but they've got a new coach. Could that be enough to turn their fate around this time?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I mean, naturally, especially in this game, England do come in as favourites. That's obvious. We know that England have got the quality. Yes, they probably haven't had the years preceding that they might have liked in the build-up to the tournament, as obviously relatively recently appointed Steve Borthwick, and Eddie Jones is maybe a fixture of the past now. But Italy have very much changed their squad from last year. Yes, they've retained the same captain, but the amount of changes that they've made, they've gone from the oldest squad, the most experienced squad in the Six Nations, to the youngest and the least experienced. 5 players included in the squad who have never played for Italy before, and another 8, I believe, who have got less than 10 caps. So we'll have to wait and see. Italy are bringing in this new generation of talent. They finished 3rd in the under-20 Six Nations last year, which maybe gives them some hope for the future. Has this Six Nations come a little bit too early? We'll have to wait and see, but I would probably say yes.
So, David, coming off the back of a disappointing Six Nations for England, they may be going in as favourites against Italy, but tell us what we can expect from them tomorrow.
You're going to expect a lot of changes in the squad, really, as people have said in the media. There's going to be a lot of changes in the squad. Obviously, new captain, Owen Farrell, going to be missing out on the Six Nations due to hiatus in the sort of international game. So there's going to be quite a lot of changes, really, and there's going to be a lot of changes, especially in that sort of number 10 position as well for England. So Finn Smith has been called up for the Six Nations squad. Obviously, he's coming in uncapped, plays for Northampton Saints. He's doing really well for them so far. It'll be interesting to see how he sort of does in that sort of setup. And then you've obviously got the sort of other players as well in that position. Marcus Smith, a bit of a doubt because of obviously injuries, and he could be out for good because of how serious the injury is, but we don't know at this moment in time. So he's probably going to go with George Ford, the coach. So it'll be interesting to see how England sort of line up in that area, and I think a lot of change might be good, but it could potentially be bad for the England team at the same time. So we just have to wait and see.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, George Ford was a big part of England's success, really, in the whole of the campaign leading up to that game. So we'll expect to see much from him. But Tom, you mentioned a lot of debuts in the Italian team. You mentioned players to look out for. Tell us some of those names.
Yeah, so I think naturally your eyes go straight towards the Garbisi brothers. Paolo is one of the world's better talents, it must be said. And yes, he plays for Italy, who are a country who maybe haven't won as much or won many games in recent months and years for that. But if they're going to aim to finish 5th this year, then Paolo Garbisi is going to be incredibly important to that mission. And one other talent that I would say you probably ought to keep an eye out on is Tommaso Allen, who is fantastic. Tommy Allen, as he's known when he plays in England, but Tommaso Allen, another of Italy's great talents. So we'll have to see if they can both take them to 5th in the Six Nations this year.
Well, brilliant. Well, that's an interesting game there for you then, Italy versus England. But following after, and last but not least, it's the first home nations game, which will see Wales take on Scotland. That one promises plenty of entertainment. But joining us to discuss that one will be Will and Lucy shortly. And tomorrow, after Italy versus England, Wales will take on Scotland at home. It's the first home nations fixture, so we are expecting some excitement. Joining me in the studio, we have Lucy and Will. But Will, I'm going to start with you first. Wales finished 5th last year. Can they expect a better turnaround this year?
Doubtful. It's very doubtful. I mean, Wales have been dominating the headlines going into this tournament, but not for reasons that Warren Gatland would have wanted. Rhys Zammit, of course, off to the NFL. He's left a massive void in that Wales team, an already very depleted Wales team with the departure of numerous dressing room leaders, Alan Wynne-Jones and Topuria before the World Cup, and then afterwards Dan Biggar. It's left them reliant on a lot of young players to come through, and as a result, as we can see, David Jenkins is the youngest ever international captain for Wales at just 21. He'll be leading them out, and Wales fans will be hoping that he can, provide an inspiring performance after what was a pretty acceptable but uninspiring World Cup performance going out to Argentina. So it's not looking good. I won't lie for them. morale will be low, and they're facing a resurgent Scotland side. It will be difficult. I mean, they're coming off the last time they faced, of course, it was 35-7 to Scotland. They got battered by 5 tries. It's going to be difficult, and if I was Welsh, I wouldn't be hopeful.
Lucy, are you feeling a bit more hopeful than Will? How do you see Scotland doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that they don't have the best track record when it comes to taking home the silverware. But
How many years has it been, remind us?
So we're going to have to go back to the Five Nations edition of this tournament, 1999 I think it was. So they have had a bit of a dry spell. But what I would say is actually I mean, we band around the word potential quite a lot with Scotland, but I think actually they find themselves in quite a unique position going into this year, in a bit of an Uno reverse to the Welsh situation, where they've got a lot of players kind of missing through injury. Scotland do have that to some extent. I think Rory Darge is just kind of on tenterhooks, new captain, as to whether he will start the game tomorrow. But I think they actually have quite a stable squad after the World Cup. They've got a real sense of continuity, strong leadership group, not just the captain. So I think actually they have quite a good chance of kind of proving themselves and building off the back of a World Cup that taught them a lot of lessons, I think.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Will, do you think that this could be almost the start of something new for Wales? It's a rebuild, it's a turnover in squads, and do you think that playing with a closed roof at the stadium could possibly help get behind the players and really see them win?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if there's any hope, there's a lot of hope that the Principality will be able to, push on the Welsh team. And with the closed roof, as was decided on Friday, Scotland didn't want it, but because of its weather conditions, it's been chosen to do. And with a closed roof, the atmosphere will be electric. It's going to be something that as a Welsh fan, you'll be hoping they can push on and start this new era and surprise people, because Wales have a precedent of disproving their doubters, and that's something they'll hope to show up again against Scotland and hopefully have a better performance than 5th this year. No one's really expecting them to win it, but I think a top 3, and that'll be adequate, and that'll definitely keep the pressure off Warren Gatland's head.
Oh, that's a big statement. Lucy, Finn Russell described himself as the Lionel Messi of rugby. How important is he going to be for Scotland in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm not sure if it was him that described himself as that, but he's very much a kind of understated character. But he's stepping into co-captain this year, which I think actually probably comes after longer than maybe it should have. But he's a real character, kind of off the pitch, very calm. But in that number 10 position, he's a bit of a magician. So I think probably if he did say that about himself, it's warranted. Last year's Six Nations, he saw, I think over now 2 years, he's seen 19 teammates through an opponent's defensive back line. So he's got unbelievable vision to the wings, especially when you've got the likes of Van der Merwe, kind of with the strength to carry the ball forward. So he kind of sets his teammates up in the best position to sort of take the ball over the line. And I think with his incisive passing, he's a dangerous player on the ball. He's got a great carry rate. And I think definitely he's one to watch. But it will be interesting to see how he kind of steps up into the leadership role. I know his relationship with Gregor Townsend has been a bit strained over the recent years, but I think possibly him stepping into that role, maybe the kind of reconciliation between the two might actually be representative of Scotland sort of stepping forward into a bit of a new era. But yeah, he promises excitement if nothing else.
Absolutely, I'm most entertained and looking forward to this one. But thank you so much, Lucy and Will. And stay tuned with our next segment, which will see a little quiz. I want to quiz you guys, and we're going to bring in the rest of the others into the studio. Let's see who knows more about the Six Nations. And now it's time for our Six Nations quiz called Give It a Try. So guys, are you willing to give it a try?
Yes.
Brilliant. Lucy, I'll start with you. In what year was the first Six Nations played? Was it A, 1883, B, 1910, or C, 2000?
I'm going to go with C, 2000.
C would be correct. It was 2000, and that's when Italy joined and it became the Six Nations. Well done to you. Right, second question goes to you, Tom. Which team won the last 5 nations before it expanded into Six Nations in 2000? Is it A, Scotland, B, Wales, or C, England?
I'm going to go for Scotland.
Scotland would be correct. You're on a roll here, guys. 2 out of 2 so far. That's correct. And since then, they haven't won it.
I'm going to say this year's a good time to rectify that.
Well, there you go. Maybe there'll be a new quiz next year. Right, Nathan, the next question is going to you. Which 2 teams have never finished in the last place during the Six Nations era? And I'm not giving you any options here, so you've got to give me 2 teams, Nathan.
England and Ireland.
England and Ireland would be correct. Has anybody seen my answers? Lovely, guys. So we're on a roll here. It's 3 out of 3 so far. Giving it a good try. Right, so question number 4. We've got, to you, Will, listening up here. So, who holds the record number of points scored in the history of the tournament? Is it A, Owen Farrell, B, Johnny Sexton, or C, Finn Russell?
Oh, I'd go with Johnny Sexton.
Johnny Sexton would be the correct answer, guys. Well done.
Quite a tough one, actually.
That was quite tough.
Yeah, we really need to make sure our production team thinks of better questions next time. Anyways, last but not least, Eddie, this one's going for you. No pressure.
I'm feeling the pressure because everyone has got them right.
And again, this isn't going to be a multiple choice, so again, no pressure. So, listen carefully. The trophy was designed with a lip on the rim to allow the winners to fill it with a beverage and drink from it. What quantity of which liquid was it designed to hold?
I think I actually read this on Wikipedia like a few days ago.
Well, let's hear it.
Is it, I feel like it's 3.75 litres of champagne.
Oh, you're very close. To be fair, that could be right. It's 5 bottles of champagne. Can anyone work out how many litres that is? I'm going to give that answer to you.
I'll take it.
I'll give you that answer. Well, guys, it's 5 out of 5. Congratulations. It's safe to say you did score 5 tries. Well done. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the Scrumcast. That's all from us ahead of the opening weekend of the Six Nations. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Be sure to leave your predictions in the comments down below. Have a lovely day.